Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Virtual Lab series of video blog presentations on various diverse scientific computing topics. As you can see here, the title of today's presentation is on the topic of how density functional theory computational techniques can be employed for the purpose of predicting the properties of superconducting materials. This presentation is provided by Virtual Lab, the company behind the development of the Materials Square online platform. Materials Square is entirely dedicated to assisting and encouraging researchers from across the world to perform atomistic computational simulations on a wide range of materials science and molecular chemical modeling applications, directly via our integrated powerful cloud computing resources. Being entirely online-based, and executable via any basic web browser interface on any device with internet access, the Materials Square platform makes it possible to execute such complex simulations and calculations without the need to install any complicated scientific code locally on your machine, and without the need to have expensive supercomputing clusters at your immediate disposal. Our supported atomistic simulation functionalities and solutions are mainly based on well-established scientific computational techniques such as density functional theory and classical molecular dynamics, and have a very broad range of useful applications in computational chemistry and materials science R&D, which are thus ideally suited for both industrial and academic users from around the globe. We invite our viewers to please consult our products and services offered via the Materials Square platform by visiting its corresponding website, which is www.matsq.com, as noted also in the video description below. So, let us begin our main scientific presentation of today. The physical phenomenon of superconductivity is one of the most remarkable macroscopic experimental manifestations of the quantum nature of solid-state matter. It is also a phenomenon which holds a revolutionary and groundbreaking potential in a large variety of industrial and commercial applications in electronics and electrical power transmission in grids. In addition, superconductors are useful in many other applications related to magnetism, such as in magnets for nuclear magnetic resonance and magnetic resonance imaging, as well as in particle accelerators and in magnetic energy storage devices. Superconductivity in a material is defined as the total vanishing of its electrical resistivity, below a certain temperature known as the critical temperature, commonly labeled as Tc. This special property allows electrons to flow through the crystalline structure of the material without any energy dissipation. Typically, superconducting materials are known to exhibit relatively low critical temperatures, much lower than the ambient temperature, which would obviously represent the most desirable target in the quest and discovery for novel superconductor material compositions. The largest observed well-established value of this critical temperature, at ambient pressure conditions, is given by the value of 133 Kelvin for the case of the copper oxide material structure, which chemical composition HgBa2Ca2Cu308 plus X, commonly abbreviated as Hg1223. This said, the quest for ambient temperature superconductors is a constantly and rapidly evolving field of active research and ongoing speculation, as demonstrated by some of the breaking news highlights and clamorous announcements reported in recent years in the scientific literature, such as the examples displayed on this slide. Historically, the main distinction in the world of superconducting materials has been drawn between low Tc materials on one hand, and high Tc ones on the other, depending on whether this value for the critical temperature lies below or above the boiling temperature of liquid nitrogen, which corresponds to a value of 77 Kelvin and is used as the main reference substance in this case due to its important industrial applications in refrigeration. The best established theoretical framework for explaining at a microscopic level the onset of superconducting behavior in the so-called class of conventional superconductors consists in the celebrated theory of Bardeen, Cooper, and Schrieffer formulated in 1957, commonly referred to as the BCS theory of superconductivity. According to this theory, superconductivity occurs due to the lattice-level interactions between the electrons of the crystal structure and the vibrations of the lattice itself. Well-known examples of conventional superconductors that are well characterized by such BCS theory are given by elemental metals like lead. This said, the BCS theory remains a high-level and general theory for explaining the bulk of experimental observations. However, it certainly does not count as a true first principles theory, whereby the superconducting properties of materials such as the critical temperature can be predicted from just a simple knowledge of their most fundamental structural and compositional attributes, such as the positions of the atoms in the crystal structure and their atomic numbers. For the purpose of better predicting and understanding superconductivity via a more fundamental approach based on the electronic structure of condensed matter, the BCS theory was itself suitably extended under the so-called Migdal-Eliashberg theory of superconductors. Under this extended theory, the critical temperature has been for the first time directly related to the atomic scale properties of materials, in particular their electronic band structure, the phonon dispersion relations, as well as the interrelation between them according to the concept of electron-phonon interactions. Considering that modern DFT-based ab initio methods can compute both of these material properties with a great deal of accuracy, conventional superconductors can now be investigated quantitatively at a fundamental electronic and quantum mechanical level, thus paving the way for the computational design and discovery from first principles of novel superconducting materials with interesting predicted properties. As a concrete example of how first principles computational methods can be applied to superconductors, let us now consider the well-known case of the magnesium diboride material. Magnesium diboride was found to superconduct below a critical temperature of 39 Kelvin in 2001, and currently holds the record for having the highest critical temperature among all known conventional superconductors. This original discovery of magnesium diboride as a superconducting material has sparked an enormous interest in the research community ever since, and was followed by many other similar studies published in the literature. One way in which the superconducting behavior of magnesium diboride has been investigated is by calculating the evolution of the heat capacity of the material as a function of temperature, which is quite a standard procedure for studying superconductivity in general, since this curve typically exhibits a sharp jump at the point when the superconducting critical temperature is reached. In a study performed in 2002 by Professor Choi and co-workers from Yonsei University in South Korea, the experimentally measured evolution of the temperature-dependent heat capacity of magnesium diboride was directly compared with the same curve obtained from ab initio computational methods, through an implementation of the aforementioned Migdal-Eliashberg theory of superconductivity. The main results of this computational investigation are portrayed under the present slide. The left panel shows a ball and stick representation of the superconductor magnesium diboride. Magnesium diboride in fact consists of sheets of boron atoms, depicted in green, arranged within an hexagonal lattice, intercalated by layers of magnesium atoms shown in orange. The right-hand panel shows a comparison between the heat capacity of this material, as measured in a series of various experiments, and as computed by the research group of Professor Choi via first principles methods, according to their respective labels denoted in the legend. A simpler model based on the BCS theory is also included in the graph, as represented by the dashed black line. The quantity plotted under the y-axis is derived by taking the difference between the heat capacity in the superconducting state of the material, labeled as Cs, and that in the normal state, denoted by Cn. It can be deduced from this graph that such theoretical first principles calculations, shown as the red line, are in relatively good agreement with the experimental behavior of the material. In particular, there is a good consensus on the value of the critical temperature of 39 Kelvin, where the discontinuity in the heat capacity occurs and below which the material behaves as a superconductor. The dashed black line, on the other hand, representing the predictions obtained via the simpler BCS model applied to magnesium diboride, is not able to reproduce all the detailed features of this heat capacity plot as accurately as the DFT calculations themselves. This example of magnesium diboride therefore demonstrates the accuracy and predictive power of DFT computational methods, especially when operated in conjunction with solid theoretical foundations, such as the Migdal-Eliashberg theory of superconductivity in this case. This brings us to the conclusion of our presentation. Many thanks for your attention, and we recommend once more to please give a try to our Materials Square online platform for executing atomistic materials and chemical computations directly on the cloud, by visiting its website at www.materialsquare.com. Please do not hesitate to contact us by email, as shown here on this slide, in case you would like to obtain further information on the various R&D services and solutions that we provide at Virtual Lab. Many thanks again for your interest and your consideration.